Roberto Clemente, Chapter 6, Puerto Rican Hot Dog. Roberto was walking down a busy street in Pittsburgh. "Watch out, buddy," said a man carrying a ladder. Roberto walked on. "Got the time, buddy?" another man asked him. Roberto got on a bus and handed the driver a dollar bill. "Don't you have any change, buddy?" he asked the bus driver. Why was everyone calling him Buddy? Were they making fun of him? Roberto angrily wondered. He still didn't know enough everyday English to understand that some people call you Buddy when they don't know your name. It was taking Roberto a long time to feel at home in Pittsburgh. For many reasons, he was feeling bad. Roberto was having a hard time making friends with his teammates. Also, the sun didn't shine nearly as much in Pittsburgh as it did in Puerto Rico, and so Roberto often felt cold. And the food was so different. In Puerto Rico, people fried bananas and ate them like potatoes. In Pittsburgh, people cut them up and put them on cereal. Also, even though there were no laws keeping blacks and whites apart in Pittsburgh, all the dark-skinned people seemed to live in one part of town anyway, and you hardly ever saw a black person and a white person together. And now Roberto was bothered by an injury. It happened the winter before Roberto left for Pittsburgh. One of his brothers was very ill in the hospital in San Juan. Roberto was driving home from visiting his brother when another car smashed into his at 60 miles an hour. The driver of the other car was drunk. Roberto's back was hurt in the accident, and he had trouble with his back for the rest of his life. Sometimes he couldn't play baseball because it hurt too much. His teammates did not always believe Roberto when he said he couldn't play. He looked like such a strong, healthy young man. It was hard to believe he had a bad back. It took a long time for Roberto to win respect from his teammates and fame as a ball player. In 1955, about the only person who seemed to believe in Roberto was Roberto himself. It wasn't until much later that the owner of the Pirates said he always knew Clemente would be an all-star outfielder. He had such a great arm and hit balls so hard you wouldn't believe it. Roberto played his first major league game in a doubleheader against the Dodgers. He got the Pirates' first hit and scored their first run that day. Roberto was off to a good start, but he had many things to learn. First, there was his batting. Roberto hardly ever got on base with a walk. He swung at almost every pitch. "Hit only those pitches you like," the batting coach told him. But Roberto seemed to like just about every pitch that came across the plate. He didn't always follow the signs the manager gave him. During one game, the manager told him to bunt. This would help the player on third base get home and tying the score. But instead, Roberto wanted to get a hit, and he struck out. Pittsburgh lost the game. The manager fined Roberto $25. That was a lot of money back in 1955. There was another time Roberto did not do what the manager wanted. The bases were loaded with the tying run on first when Roberto came up to bat. He swung. Crack! The ball flew deep into center field. The runners sped around the bases. The manager wanted Roberto to stop at third base. There were no outs. Why take a chance trying to get to home plate? But Roberto did not stop. He went right on and he whizzed by third base and slid safely into home just ahead of the ball. It was an inside-the-park grand slam home run. Did the manager fire him again? Of course not. Roberto had won the game for the Pirates. But some people said he was a show-off. A sports writer called him a Puerto Rican hot dog. Roberto did not understand. He thought the writer was making fun of his country, and he didn't like that. Puerto Rican hot dog, he said? What does that mean? I am proud to be a Puerto Rican. This is a picture. It says on June 6th of 1956, the Pirates pitcher Ron Klein is congratulated by teammates Roberto Clemente, Dale Long, and Frank Thomas as they celebrate their win over the Chicago Cubs.